My name is Justin Hansford. I'm a law professor at St. Louis University School of Law. I live about 10 minutes outside of Ferguson. And my involvement in Ferguson began when I saw Mike Brown's dead body laying on the street for over 4.5 hours, saw it on social media. And it was a spectacle. And to me, it was a fresh cut in an old wound, because I'm a person who knows about the history of civil rights and lynching in the United States, and the spectacle of leaving a body in public view as a warning to others is an outrage to my sense of dignity.
From St. Louis, a week and a half before I started law school, Mike Brown was killed 4 blocks away from the neighborhood where I last lived. Today, this is the most difficult thing I think I've ever had to do, because I'm sitting next to the people who are responsible for the guns that were pointed in my face. So I hope that, you know, people didn't think they were going to come to Cambridge and escape in a very important conversation, because they have someone from their neighborhood right here next to them.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I hope I get an opportunity to talk about some of the things that we were trying to do in the community before Michael Brown. We've done a lot more since, but it's like trying to turn around an aircraft carrier.
You have to tell them who you are.
My name's Tom Jackson. I'm Chief of Police in the city of Ferguson.
My name is James Knowles. I'm the mayor of the city of Ferguson. I've been a Ferguson resident for 35 of my 35 years. If you serve in those positions, it's because you want to make positive change. And that's something that I've been focused on for the past 10 years. It's something I'll continue to be focused on.
My name is David Spence. I was up here earlier. I'm a CEO of a pharmaceutical packaging company in St. Louis and a St. Louis native. And it broke my heart to see the lack of leadership and the lack of understanding after the August shooting.
My name is Paul Muhammad, founder of Peacekeepers St. Louis. Our position is that we act as a buffer between corruption and law enforcement, as acting as an advocate for our people against that corruption in law enforcement and in politics through proactive community involvement.
Y'all know that tool for Men in Black? You know the one that they flash and it leaves your body but get rid of all recollections and memories? Well, around my way, the cops got the same thing, only it worked in reverse, because one flash from that tool will get rid of that body, leaving only recollections and memories. See, cops killing us.
Because I am Mike Brown, I am Oscar Grant, I am Eric Gardner, I am Von Derek Myers, I am Kim King, I am Kerry Ball, I am a black man in America.
That's right.
Thank you.
In Ferguson last year, there were over 24,000 arrest warrants issued in a town with a population of 21,000 people.
Of the municipalities, there are a lot worse than Ferguson on fines, predatory policing, and taking care of taking advantage of the people that have the least ability to pay. There's probably some bias in the audience of what you saw on TV or what you read on social media. I am here to tell you, Ferguson was not a dysfunctional place.
I'd like to interject on that, if I may. First and foremost, I respect your perspective, Dave, but we do all understand that being black in white America and being white in America, we have 2 different realities. So we have to speak on that, and we can't not address that elephant in the room.
Then you're saying that Ferguson is the least likely place for a white police officer to kill an unarmed black man, and that is simply not true. Simply not true. Right. Data says that it's not true. Police record says that that's not true. It's just simply not true. So I don't know what part of Ferguson you're talking about. Have you lived in Ferguson?
I have not, but I'm near there.
That's great. So for someone who's actually lived in this community, spent my summers on date, caught the bus across past that quick trip that went up in flames every single day my senior year of high school, that is very likely. Actually, I'm surprised it happened so late. It
It bothers me a little bit there's no acknowledgement that we are listening, and that we have listened. There's poverty, they're living paycheck to paycheck, they're getting up in the morning and working all day and coming home to the kids. I recognize that, but we have tried to engage since Michael Brown.
So in the context of this type of behavior, if you want to move the discussion to solutions, I think we can begin talking about solutions. And the question is, when will you offer your resignation?
Well, I don't intend to resign. I can tell you that.
No, I don't intend to resign until I've seen some real progress here.
Darren Wilson, this is my question. How long did you know Darren Wilson before he was a Ferguson officer?
I never met him before that.
Never met him before. I'm sorry, y'all.
Take your time.
But it's more so not a question. My fault, Andre. But I know Darren Wilson. Darren Wilson went to school with me. He went to school with me. Darren Wilson grew up around black people. Darren Wilson has always been fucked up in the head. And I don't know how you interview, you become an officer, you go through whatever training it is and not realize how fucked up in the head Darren Wilson is. And I really don't have any questions for Chief Jackson and the mayor. And you guys now see what we've been going through for 160 days with these incompetent motherfuckers.
Right, right.
I think whenever black boys kill other black boys, we start mentoring programs. We find them mentors. We get Obama to make a black men initiative. But when white men kill black boys, we don't start mentoring programs in white schools. We don't go to their schools and connect it with mentors. They don't hear from black men. They don't hear from men of color until they're killing them. They don't hear from men of color until they're arresting them. So, Mr. Spence, have you created any partnerships with any white schools to introduce them to communities of color, to address the systemic inequality so they won't grow up and kill black boys, so they won't grow up and become slumlords in places like Ferguson, but keep places like Overland or St. Charles looking really, really nice? Have you?
Okay. No, but I also have created over 2,000 jobs.
Can you, Mayor or Police Chief, ban stop and frisk, or would consider banning stop and frisk?
Yes, we don't employ that. Frisks of people are based on the law, probable cause, reasonable suspicion, Supreme Court decisions. So they are required to be carried out equally. All the tear gas and pepper was deployed by the SWAT teams from St. Louis County, St. Louis City, Missouri State Highway Patrol, and
Under
other
whose
SWAT
authority?
Teams. Under the authority
Under whose
of
authority?
the incident commander, whoever that was at the time.
What's the name of the authority, of the commanding officer that gave the authority, that sanctioned that?
For the first few weeks, it would have been the Missouri State Highway Patrol commander on the scene. But also, just to point out that tear gas was only deployed once shots started being fired, and that's when the...
That's not true. We were out there every day of the unrest. That's a lie.
Hold on.
No. Mr.
Come back to the question. I want to.
I
he's
definitely
lying.
understand
He's
that.
lying.
I understand
No,
what
it's
you're
not
saying.
true.
But we're talking about an incident right now who people on this fucking panel went through. So you can't tell me that we was tear gassed because of no gunshots.
Exactly.
Because I wasn't tear gassed because of gunshots. I was tear gassed because I was standing there and I was making it inconvenient for you motherfuckers.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Because I think we're talking different purposes. When you said you ran to make change and you said you were not going to leave until the problem solved, what I think would be helpful, what do you think the problem is?
Number one, although it should be apparent that Black Lives Matter, to many people in our community, it's not apparent as demonstrated by their behavior. So the problem number one, we have to value all lives, including Black lives in this country, and respect their basic human rights and civil rights. Two, accountability. So whenever killings happen, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, and nobody is held accountable, Black lives matter a little bit less. They matter a little bit less because now there's precedent for what you can get away with and not be held accountable for. So someone needs to lose their job.
That's right.
I suggest the two people sitting to my right.
Thank you.
There's too much prosecutorial discretion, so there needs to be an automatic trial. 2, there needs to be new leadership who also believes that there needs to be a trial, instead of people trying to justify a broken system by partnering with drug programs but not teaching their cops not to be racist.
Thank you.
Well, there's the long term and the very long term. Very long term is the problem of poverty and the lack of love in some people's lives. If you don't have love, then you know it's a hard chore. You can be poor and be loved and succeed, but if you're poor and you're not loved, it's much more difficult. From what I've seen in my 35 years in law enforcement.
I think it goes, to both to economic and educational equality of opportunity, and I think that's something that throughout our community, throughout many places across the country, there is still a very basic inequality in the opportunities and also in educational opportunities, economic opportunities and educational opportunities, and of course those two are very much intertwined.
It is economic disparity. And so, do you think as many crimes would happen if people had better opportunities? No.
The problem is the disregard, the dehumanization, and devaluing of black lives.
I think the biggest problem is that I always fit the description. No matter what.
That's right.
I always fit the description. I got tattoos on my face. I'm a young black man. They don't take the time out to see that I've graduated from college, that I own an Allstate, that I own an income tax service, that I'm really involved in my community. I always fit the description. Problem is we talk so much about policy and what we need to do, and we need all of that. We need community involvement, empowerment, all of that. But at the end of the day, the prerequisite is we have to be alive. We as black men, we have to be alive to reap the benefits of whatever program that they trying to put together 3, 4, 5 years down the road. And police brutality and police killings are essentially a domino effect that y'all get it.